Hello YouTube and welcome to my channel. This is going to be my introductory video that I'm going to send out. I do have videos already on my channel. For this session here I'm going to be doing 23andMe. To give you an update on my channel, I do DNA, I do reaction videos, and a variety of games and stuff like that. So I hope that you join me up for my channel. And for this session here we're going to have 23andMe. I'm going to go ahead and minimize myself here so we can see the screen here. We go ahead and drag this down. This is 23andMe only. I do videos where I'm doing cross-reference, but here I'm just going to do 23andMe. Okay, so this is my composition here. Okay, so they have me as Sub-Saharan 90.2%. They got West African at 74.3. Nigerian is 30.7. Ghana, Liberian is 17.5. They got Senegambian, I guess in Guinea, 11%. Broadly West African is 15%. Okay, that's what that is right there. Congolese is 8.7%. Southern East African is 6%. Broadly Congolese is 1.5%. African Hunter is 4%. And Sub-Saharan is 4.6%. European, it goes to 8.9%. Northwestern Europe, okay. British Irish is 5.2%. Broadly Northwest European is 2.5%. Southern European is 0.2%. And broadly Southern European is 0.2%. And broadly European is 0.9%. Okay. East Asian and Native American, 0.7%. Chinese and South Asian is 0.4%. Indonesian, Thai, Myanmar is 0.2%. And broadly Chinese, Southeast Asian is 2%. 0.2%. So we got to get the zeros there. Okay. North Asian, Native American is 0.2%. And broadly East Asian and Native American is 0.1%. And the unassigned that they can't find yet, 0.3%. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go through this without having to, how you say it, show other people stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my camera off here and go to full screen. There you go. You hear my voice in the background. Okay, so I want to go and see here. Let's go to my overview. Okay, and this is the page here that leads you in and give you your report. You can go full reports here. It gives you your DNA relatives. It said I got 1,138 relatives, 763 third to fourth cousins. You can find your matches. I'm not going to do that right now because I can probably expose other people that probably don't want to be exposed. On Neanderthal ancestry, we've identified 30 genetic variants of that. So this is considered really low for this site. You can view my report. That's view my report there. You have 38 variants. It tells you here, this is less than 100% of 23andMe customers. Okay. So I'm in first place. I'm like, didn't know there was a race here for it, but I guess I'm in first place. But I'm the only one of my close family that's on this one. They're on other sites. Yep, I don't have straight hair. That tells you what the variants are. Less likely to sneeze after eating dark chocolate. Now I can eat chocolate all day. I have no back hair, if any body hair at all. And height, let me see, you have 0 Neanderthal variants associated with your height. And this is the brief introduction. I won't read it out. You can always freeze frame it, but I'll click through it at 600,000 years. And you can pause at 300,000 years, at 200,000 years, at 60,000 years, and then today. Okay, you can get all the other stuff down here. Okay, so let's go ahead and scroll all the way back up. Okay, I want to go here to so where we look at the Nigerian stuff. Okay, so you can go here, get the same thing. And this is gonna let you know if you have anybody that you're related to on this. So let me go ahead to your family DNA. I want to go to my maternal group. So my haplogroup is HV2. That's consistent with other sites. I'm HV, HV2, and HV2A2. This will give you that your origins and stuff. So as much African DNA as I have on my mother's side, because the European came from a European female. So that's why my haplogroup is that. So I'll show up as European even though I have all that African DNA. So it only counts your mother's lineage, and paternal is counts your father's lineage. Okay. So haplogroup L. This should be where all of us starts at. You can just go ahead and pause, and then I'll go through some of this. Okay. L3 should be one of the first groups that leaves Africa. So if I read it correctly, all European people come from the L3 Africans. Okay. And you can see that dot over here. So you can read that. Right. That's why I'm also known as the Ice Age. Then we go to N. N is when you leave. Okay, and it tells you here that the two branches are Southwest Asia and have long been debated, but the Sinai Peninsula. So, like if you're an HV2, if you go to a site like Family Tree, I'm by myself still, so I have no matches there on my mother's side. But on my father's side, I do. Okay, then it goes to R, haplogroup R. So right now you're watching my mother's mother, and you're watching how she traveled. Okay, one of the groups is haplogroup R, which traces back to a woman who lived soon after the migration out of Africa. She lived in Southwest Asia and the Arabian Peninsula, and her descendants lived and migrated alongside members of haplogroup N. Along the way, R gave rise to a number of branches, right? And then that branch for me was HV2, so this is me here. So on my mother's DNA.land, she had Iranian and Turkish and stuff like that. So I want to know, well, why did that come from? And we still carry that till today. Even I have it on other websites where it has Iranian and lineage from Pakistan. So, and that's why I show up as European on and when it talks about haplogroups on my mother's side. So this is my mother's mother. And so your maternal line stems from haplogroup HV2, a branch of R that traces back to a woman who likely lived in the present day Iran or southern Pakistan, approximately 11,000 years ago. In the thousands of years before, much of the northern Eurasia was covered in massive glaciers and inhospitable tundra, tongue-tied there, courtesy of the great peak of the Ice Age. And that's why I'm labeled as HV2A2 Ice Age on Family Tree DNA. These water of ice, how the planet's water, then the area saw the expansion. Eventually, the glaciers retreated and the deserts shrank around 10,000 years ago. And the people of the Middle East adopted agriculture and domesticated animals. The new way of life caused for the population to boom, and members of HV2 expanded outward from the new Iranian plateau. Okay, so you can read the rest of that there. And here, and all these little things that you can see, even though I had small traces of Chinese and stuff like that in my DNA that's listed here and throughout other sites, you can see that they're still showing up. Even if it's in small increment, they still show up. You scroll all the way down. Oops, I'm pushing the web page down, excuse me. Okay, so here it talks more about haplogroup HV. Okay, haplogroup HV is often found in the Middle East, an area that played a pivotal role in the human evolution. So you can go ahead and read the rest of that. I read along with you. You can go ahead and pause and read it. I'll go ahead and scroll down. And this talks about mitochondrial DNA, and that's what it's called. It comes from mitochondrial Eve. So you have Adam and Eve, but these are the other humans that were there. So you have mitochondrial Eve and Y chromosome Adam. Okay, so you can read the stuff there. Just put it on pause. This tells you how you inherit it, your empty DNA. Your mother's DNA is like I have my mother's DNA, but I cannot pass it on. But my sisters and her daughters and granddaughters will continue to have that same HV2 DNA. So men cannot pass it on. This is more the scientific tree. And it's tracing my female migration. So you can go ahead and read that. Scroll back up. Let's go out to the bottom. And I want to go back to Ancestry. Okay, let me scroll up again. Sorry about that. We go to all reports. We go to my father's paternal haplogroup. Okay, so this was something new. Other sites, I'm like an EM35, but they had numbers that I was used to looking at. So EZ, E-Z 1902 was something new to me. But the story is the same. So, and then you can see DM145, you can see it right there, and EM96. Okay, so I'll go ahead and pause here. You can read that. We'll go ahead and go into DEM 145. Okay, on other sites, my father is listed as North African, and he's listed as a Berber, cousin to the Berbers. And in the future, let's go to EM96. In the future, you'll see me do cross references, which I already have some listed there, so you can go check those videos out. This is my latest one, so this won't be compared to the other sites, but I do have other things listed to where I go to DNA.land, family tree, I'm on Ancestry, so I'm on MyHeritage, and then I'll show you some of the pros and cons of how autosomal DNA works. So here you got EM96. 60,000 years ago, gave rise to MEM96. You simply called E. Yeah. The common ancestor of EM96 is the living in northeastern Africa, like I was just saying, or in the Arabian Peninsula. So when, like on family tree, my father's ancestry goes to mostly Europe, very few African countries. So I had like Liberia and Yemen. Everything else is Russia, Albania, places like that. And you'll see that on the bottom. So when you do a father trace, all the Nigerian stuff is not listed there because that's not where my father's from. Even though he may have the DNA, but when you're talking father lineage, father, it's going to these other places and they show up. So I have family in Iraq, I think Afghanistan, Kuwait, in the UAE out there. So my DNA goes out that way. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Okay, your paternal line, EM78, stems from ancestors or haplogroups of EM78. So you can go ahead and read all that there. And here you can see it talks about that, what I was just saying. Today, men bearing also in Southern Europe, including the Balkans, Iberia and Italy, Greece, Bulgaria, Albania, and all the other stuff, which is true. So I talked to some of the cousins out there a little bit, and we'll try to find out. As an American, we learn more from them than they do from us because, like me, a lot of African American, a lot of Americans don't know their history. So when they ask me stuff, you won't see it. And like here it says, today men from Ukraine. And if you go to my heritage page, you'll see my page. You'll see all that stuff there. Okay. Then it talks here, your haplogroup, EZ92, traces back to a man who lived less than 23,000 years ago. That's nearly 920 generations ago. What happened between then and now, as researchers discovered more about your haplogroup, new details are added to your story paternal line. Okay? So that's a 1 in 2,000, 1 in 2,200. I have this right here, but this is good stuff. Your paternal stems back to EM 215. So these are the numbers that I was used to. The number that they gave me there is something new that I wasn't used to. Men bearing this lineage migrated from the Balkans to southwestern Europe during the spread of agriculture by early farmers 10,000 years ago. Each member of your haplogroup, some of the world's first farmers, had a competitive advantage over native men who didn't have any farming technology. As a result of this, your haplogroup became widespread and popular during the agricultural revolution. The effects of this ancient advantage are seen today, with the haplogroup being represented from Portugal and Spain to Palestine, Southern Africa, and Russia. Right, and that's in all the other ones too. So here you got the Y chromosome test. This is handed down from father to son, and you'll see when I do something on genome, I map back to the same father as King Tut and Ramsey, Genghis Khan, people like that. So you'll see all my royal stuff on my upcoming videos coming when I specifically do haplogroups. Okay, my paternal inheritance. This shows you how this is your father's father's father, son. So that's me there. And this is why I said all the Nigerian stuff, it doesn't show up on my lineage test. It's pretty much 99% all European stuff thus far. So hopefully I can get a cousin or somebody to take a test to find where those relatives' lines are at, because I can't see them. My paternal match and tracing the male migration. So you can see that there, and that's how it came about. Okay, so let me go find another one here. Hopefully you're sticking with me through this. Find this exciting. I don't want to go to relatives. I don't want to go to that. I think it's composition is the one I wanted to go to. Okay, that's the one we did already. Oh, this is it down here. Okay. So the great tool that 23andMe has is that they can pinpoint certain people that came into your life. Like, how did you become you? And on Ancestry.com, is where I keep my family history stuff, because I belong to a lot of sites, and everybody have you got to pay for everything. So I'm like, well, I keep my family tree there, you know. So so here it tells you that around this time period, 1840 to 1900, you most likely had a grandparent, great-grandparent, or second great-grandparent who was 100% Nigerian. I believe this is my mother's father's family. I just recently found the first African that links back around this time period. I'm like, wow, that can be that person, but I don't know if it's on my mother's side, my father's side, or which line. That's the only problem with that. Okay, for Ghana, it said you most likely had a great-grandparent, a second great-grandparent, or third great-grandparent who was Ghana, Liberian, and Sierra Leone. This person was born between 1810 and 1870. Hold on one second. I'm going to take a sip of water. Usually I put it on pause, but I'm like, Okay. Sorry about that, but my throat was getting dry. Okay. And then British. This is interesting here. You most likely had a great-grandparent, second grandparent, third grandparent who was 100% British. This person was likely born between 1810 and 1870. This shows an error that I made when I was initially doing my ancestry chart. Sometimes, like you said, British people or white people, non-black people would show up, and I would ignore the note because I was just typically looking for all African American. I had brick walls. So now I probably have to go back and consider that, being that this person is 100% British. When I go back to 1810 or 1870 in that area, I may want to consider those charts again, because a lot of times I just ignore them. And so, well, I'm just sticking with, African American. And that's probably why I had a brick wall. They've been giving me the warning signs or the alerts, and I've been, ignore or cancel, or no, this is not me. So that makes me have to rethink things the next time I go through my charts again. Okay, we know that they're there by like 100%. I didn't know that part, as far as that, so we knew slave master, whatever was there, or somebody was there. Okay, so you most likely had a second grade, so Senegambian, I guess, a Senegal and Guinea. Okay, around 1750 to 1840. So now we're reaching further back. So I wish I can find the person that, like you're saying, Congolese, somewhere between 750 and 1840. And this one, so I show up very little on Native American on a lot of sites. I could probably say 50-50, but most times I don't show it. On this site and I think sequencing.com I show it. But very, very seldom do I show up as that. They have Chinese on Weijing, but it's still most likely I don't show Native American ancestry. But this is interesting. This I did not know. It said you most likely had a third great grandparent, fourth great grandparent, fifth great grandparent, sixth or seventh great grandparent who was 100% Native American. This person was likely born between 1690 and 1810. That's too far back from where my paperwork's at. But sometimes when you hit, because I barely made it to the 1700s, I think, on some of my charts. I'm at the third or maybe fourth great grandparent. So this would be too far back. But it just shows you how those little dots that you have, don't ignore it, because then if you think about it, they have thousands of years of ancestors there. However, for some reason, Puerto Ricans have shown up to be my closest relative on Ancestry.com, and I have them on this site. And I was wanting to know, I thought it was through the African DNA, because on Ancestry.com, we match up through like Congolese, Nigerian, something like that. But on this site, it tells you how you're related to the person. And it wasn't through Africa, because for some reason, none of my African connections matched with anybody. They all came up zero. And all the Native American and European matched up the people. Okay? And they're Puerto Ricans through Puerto Rico and through Panama. So, Southeast African, yeah, I've kind of noticed on most sites I have East African blood and DNA, and they are 1690 to 1780. African hunter-gatherer, which you see a lot of people there that have that 1690 to 1780, right? And Indonesia, now this was one that's mystified. When it shows up on other sites, like I said, I'll show up in China, but with Ancestry, when I mix it with other websites, I showed up with that. And it says you most likely had at those grandparents 100% Indonesian, Thai, Khmer, Myanmar. This person was likely born 1690 to 1780. My question is how and where? My family's from North Carolina, right? I was born in New York, but I was conceived in North Carolina. My family's in North Carolina and South Carolina, and I think they came from Alabama. So that's a mystery for me, you know. So I'm not sure if that's my father. So I said you can do this, but because my mother and my father are not on this particular website, they are there. Okay, so confidence level. This is a cool tool. This tool is going to remind you of GEDmatch, right? So with this tool here, you're able to change calculation. Like if you're familiar with GEDmatch, you can upload and use calculation. I usually use the African one. It's designed for African, but that's the closest one to me. But I will toy with the other ones. It's the same. They're all pretty much the same thing. They pretty much go. So confidence level, you can change it. So right now, leave it on that default, which is 50. Right? It tells you this. You can read this. Pause and read it. Come back. And just for exercise, I don't want to save it with this. I think you can save it. I don't want to do that. But watch how the numbers here change. So 60. You see how that went down? African went down. That changed. But your broadly will pick up. You know. So why would you want to be broad when you can be more direct? You know. I'm just showing you that, and everything changes. Even these are changed. If you go back up, you see those will change as well. So I'm going to do it again. 70%. 89, it changed again. You see, and I got less here. So what it's doing is that it's going more broad, which I don't know why people won't want to do that. I think you want to be more accurate. Okay, again, it changed again. And then I'll go over to 90 conservative. So you sometimes wonder why I get different results, or why you get different results on different sites. Is that if it's like GEDmatch, they're picking a calculator for you, and sometimes they set it in stone where you can't move it. I had to give it to 23andMe. I think they got the best tools out of all the sites that I've been to. I think they have the code. I'm still discovering stuff. I just recently started. Let me go back to 50%. Put it on the default. Okay. And there is a tool, like I said, that show that who you're related to. But I don't want to bring up somebody else's face or name on this. So let me see if I can just, let me see. I think it's in the overview section here. I think I can click on Nigerian report. Let's see if I do that. Okay, this gives you a history of the stuff. Okay, yeah, this is it here. And you get the history of the stuff, right? Now, out of all the Nigerian DNA, it says, discover your DNA. At this time, we're unable to find any relative with Nigerian ancestry. So on MyHeritage, they found it, but they look that they're getting more African Americans with it, right? So I'm not sure they're looking for people in Nigeria. That's why they come up with 0. Or they're like family tree where they're looking at my father's father's father or my mother's mother's mother, because all of the African sites do the same thing. They all come back with nothing, and everything that's European and non-African gives me a relative. Even the minor Nepal, whatever, Thailand, I got relatives there. But I'm not gonna click on those because those show actual people, or I have to blur it out anyway. So that's pretty much it. That's it right now. So watch for me to compare this with other sites. I already done it on MyHeritage, and I'll be doing it on a couple other sites. I do cross references and comparisons. So you do want to get into haplogroups and stuff like that. If you want to know, what your lineage is, then I recommend Family Tree and Geno 2.0. Family Tree will give you more of the science, and People Geno 2.0 give you more of stuff like this. So this is very similar to Geno 2.0. Okay, and that's all I got. So make sure you like and subscribe and share my video. Like I said, this is a video that I'll be sending out to the masses, other than my Facebook and my Twitter account. So like and subscribe. And my name is Dr. Ron, and I'll talk to you guys later.